So we are here for another month of a deep dive into an ingredient that we will put in our soaps and cosmetics and all of the jazz. We are not only going to put it in soap, we are not only going to put it in cosmetics, we are going to spend the month of February really dissecting this ingredient, its benefits for skin, for hair, its uses within soaps, within cosmetics, and we're going to test all of that while we all gain an awesome cosmetic, soap, scientific knowledge base, because that's what we like doing around here, around it. And I will tell you more about the ingredient for this month, although I'm sure you already know. You know in a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for February content. And February content is going to be, as I said, a deep dive into a new ingredient. We're going to explore all of the wonderful skin-loving, hair-loving goodness that comes from a certain botanical. And that botanical is rose. And rose hips. So what we are going to do today, while I am pouring my February bar, which is part of my 12 months of soap series that I sell at the end of the year at soapandclay.com, I'm going to be talking about the skin benefits of rose and rose hip, the hair benefits of rose and rose hip, the differences between rose and rose hip, if there's a difference between red roses and white roses, how you can extract these things, the best extraction methods for you at home, because we're going to be doing all of this and making all of these extractions and infusions, and, all things that you could ever possibly want to know about our very, very expensive and often misunderstood rose component within our soaps and cosmetics. So let's get to the pouring of my February soap that is also made with a rose infusion, and we will talk more about all of the things that I just said. So first, let's go ahead and tackle the rose and its benefits in skincare, and then hair care, and then we will move on to rose hip in both skin and hair. So rose in skincare is going to be very antioxidant rich. Primarily vitamin C, really high in vitamin C, and that will, of course, just like coffee, help protect the skin from damage caused by free radicals. The essential oils of the rose are going to be really good for inflammation. So a lot of anti-inflammatory properties, which can obviously help soothe irritated skin and prevent, premature aging. In addition, the essential oils from a rose do have antimicrobial properties. And so that's going to help not only cleanse the skin, but help balance the skin's pH. Now, as far as vitamins go for roses, they are a good source of vitamins A and E, which are going to be great for skin health. Vitamin A can, of course, help improve the skin tone and texture, and vitamin E is going to have a lot of really great moisturizing properties. In addition to all of that, there's a lot of minerals in rose petals. They contain lots of minerals that are beneficial for the skin, like calcium, potassium, magnesium, all the ums. And so when you're looking at your rose petals and what you can extract from them, that's going to be in a variety of different ways. We will talk more about the extractions that you can do for a rose petal throughout the rest of the week. But, high level, it's going to be really everything else that's with coffee, but it's going to come with pros and cons, because a botanical like a rose can be a very delicate, thing. and the goodness that you can extract from a rose could be damaged depending on the method that you're using. And so we're going to be looking at extractions via steam distillation, via cold press, via chemical solvent removal, and that will create different versions of your, and also infusion within an oil or within a water, and that will create different rose components. So rose water, rose oils, rose essential oils, which would be the pressing or the steam distillation, or your rose absolutes, which is essentially a chemical compound, so a solvent that has been infused with the same essential oil compound. So, a lot of ways to do it. But rose is, again, we will talk more about the benefits and the cons in each of these methods throughout this week. Now, rose for your hair is going to be a different beast as well, and it's also very important. So, we should talk about the differences between hair care and skin care. A lot of it will align, so you are going to get the really lovely benefits to the scalp as far as the pH balance and helping out with, cleansing and everything because of the antimicrobial components that exist within roses. So that's going to be good for your hair overall because a healthy scalp equals a healthy, head of hair. But specifically looking at the hair shaft itself, rose is going to be really good for hydration. So, a rose water can really help hydrate dry hair and can act as a natural conditioner in a lot of cases. It's also, as I said, good for scalp health with the anti inflammatory and all the antimicrobials. And it really can help with dandruff, psoriasis, all of that, because again, you are balancing that pH. Another interesting claim made by, the rose lovers of the world is that rose essential oil can help stimulate hair follicles, which will in turn promote hair growth and prevent hair loss. I I don't know, because one of the biggest things that you're actually ever going to find out about rose essential oil on, the world over and all of the research and studies is that there aren't a lot. And the ones that do exist are primarily going to give you the aromatherapy benefits. And so it's going to be the nice, cool, soothing and calm, whatever with all of that. Those are the actual best studies that we have regarding rose out there right now. And so for me, I don't really know if I could say hair growth, but for the rest of it, hydration, scalp health, et cetera, and so forth, yes, I can see that there's definitely going to be a benefit with the roses itself. But when you are dealing with an essential oil that is so expensive and it takes so many rose petals to actually create just one little teeny tiny drop of a rose essential oil, I really want the benefits to be stellar in both the skin and the hair. You know what I mean? And so, for example, like frankincense, I really like frankincense. I think it's a really wonderful essential oil for aging skin, for cell turnover, all of the jazz. And yeah, it's expensive, but it's worth every drop. For rose, I don't know. It shares a lot of the same benefits, the same antioxidants, and the same vitamins and minerals that you're going to find in a lot of other less expensive botanicals. So I don't know that I'm on board with rose essential oil as being some sort of cure all, especially considering you would need to use more concentrated amounts of it in order to provide a good benefit for something like the hair or within a soap bar. Now, that might change as we start talking about cosmetics and leave on products throughout this month. But for now, that's kind of a good high level what we're looking at for rose, both in benefits for skin and hair. And I do want to still address rose hips within all of this. Now, rose hips are a little bit, well, they're not a little bit different. They are, in fact, different than rose, but obviously still in the same family because the rose hips are the berries that come from the rose bushes. I don't know if you've ever actually seen a bush that's turned, to berries. It's pretty cool. It's very cute. I Honestly, I think for the most part, they don't allow it to get to that stage and they pick all those off. So it's very rare that you do see it because they want the flowering. But I feel like rose hips are going to be better suited for our soaping because of what rose hips actually contain and how it is and how that can be incorporated into soap, into a rinse off product. So we are going to talk more about that in the upcoming section. This particular soap is made with a rose butter. It is made with a rose oil. It smells of roses of the fragrant variety because I'm not putting rose essential oil into my soaps because I am not a crazy person. And it will be C-popped and gelled and all of the things. So it's pretty. It's very beautiful. It's part of that whole 12 months of Soapmas, line thing that I do every year for my end of year, gift sets. And so follows the same one that we did at the beginning of the coffee line. You know, you get it. But anyway, we are going to move on to rose hips right now, and we're going to talk about the benefits of rose hips within our skin and hair while we cut this beautiful soap. But of course, we have to do a good zoom to look at my beautiful sculpted top because I'm a sucker for a sculpted top. How about you? I really had so much fun making this soap, and I was surprised that I did it so well, honestly, because those sculpts are amazing. Tell me my soap is pretty, darn it. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. Let's go talk about rose hips. Okay, so on to the cut and talk about rose hips. So, rose hip oil is derived from the seeds of rose bushes, as I said, and it's packed with skin nourishing vitamins and essential fatty acids, which for me is going to be much more important in soap making. And so, it is known for its really exceptional regenerative and healing properties. And so, topically, it's going to be good for aging. It's going to be good anti aging because it's rich in vitamin A, which is, retinol and vitamin C, and it will help stimulate collagen production and reduce wrinkles and fine lines, which sounds a lot like, if you're working with like a frankincense, for example. Also, because of the excess fatty acids that exist within the rose hip versus the rose petal, there's a lot of moisturizing properties to rose hip oil. Definitely hydration for the skin as well as for the hair. It provides elasticity for the hair and strengthens the hair shaft. And obviously, because of the vitamin C, the rosehip oil is going to be brightening and it's going to help improve overall skin tone and texture, which is where the hyperpigmentation and scar reduction really comes in for me because it's going to be helping out in bigger amounts because you can use rosehip in a bigger amount, rosehip oil in a bigger amount because it's easier to get, it's easier to extract, it's easier to use in your soaps. And so for that reason, you can put copious amounts of your rosehip oil or an extraction into your soaps and possibly get some of this skin softening and the hyperpigmentation, all the jazz. Of course, I am going to tell you right now that obviously we are going to be responsible here. Soap is a rinse off product, etc. and so forth. I give you that spiel all the time. So this is important information to have when we are talking about our cosmetics for sure as well. So within the rosehip oil also, it's anti-inflammatory because of all of the polyphenols and whatnot that will reduce your skin redness and irritation. Again, inflammation's a big thing. It will lead to premature aging, all the jazz. You can refer back to the coffee videos. We were talking about that, you know, if you would like to. But really comparing the rose hip to the rose oil, they both have their benefits within the skin and the hair world. For me, as I said earlier, the rose essential oils, I feel like that's going to be a better suited product to put into your cosmetics because yeah, little can go a long way when it comes to a cosmetic, but two, you would really need a copious amount of your rose essential oil in your soap to really justify putting it in at all. And so, for that, considering it is so expensive, I really don't know that it's going to be the best bet. So, I think rose hip in your soaps is going to be it's going to have a definite win over the rose essential oil for me. Now, the rose oil, of course, known for soothing, hydration, aromatic properties primarily. It's primarily aromatherapy within rose. We will continue to talk about that throughout this month, and I'll see if my mind changes. But honestly, I've never been a big fan of rose and all of the benefits, as I said earlier, because it is mostly aromatherapy from everything that we do know. And so for right now, rose hip is going to be my fair winner for all things, but we will continue to talk more about this throughout this week and the rest of this month's content, and you can see what you think. And there it is, a fast and dirty deep dive on the benefits of rose, the benefits of rose hip, both within your skin products as well as within your hair products. And if you are worried that you missed some stuff, don't worry about it. I understand completely. I am learning to talk fast throughout this series because I did the actual outline of everything I wanted to cover this month for the rose hip month, and it was over 100 pages long. And so I'm going to continue to talk about these things and build on the knowledge that we did today. So don't worry about it. As always, any information that I talk about is in the description box. You know, people that like to weirdly put strange comments on my old videos saying you didn't cite any references. I always do. Check the description. accusing me of plagiarism. But yeah, we are going to be building on this knowledge, so we're going to come back to it. We will be continuing to talk about these things, really getting you that knowledge base to help you understand rose. It's a very mystifying little thing that we put into our soaps and our cosmetics, and really help you decide whether or not there is a benefit to doing so. And so that's ultimately what we're going to find out through this month. And so this week we are going to be working with infusions. We'll be doing rose oil infusions a couple of ways, as well as a butter, which is a wild journey. That's tomorrow. And the rosehip oil we'll be doing. We'll actually be doing extracts within glycerin and alcohol as well to see how it works, to see what the benefits are, if there are any, and all the jazz. So definitely like, subscribe, comment, notify, bell, things, you know, so you know when the next video drops. For the sudsers who have done all of those things, hey, thank you. Are you excited for Rose Month? Are you guys having a good time with your Project Soapway Rose Challenge? It's going to be a great time. I am very excited for it. I know that a lot of you are coming up with some very clever things, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I get to do that in like a week. So I'm super excited. But it is not this day. This day is the kickoff of Rose, and I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of rose-infused soapy fun. Bye.